By the way, I just want to say I officially no longer am subscribed to CBS All Access. I just did not find it worth my money. So this is a Hollywood Reporter article, and it says, and this is dated on the 16th of this month, so just yesterday. It says, ViacomCBS CEO talks CBS All Access reboot to create, quote-unquote, super service. Says, quote, this really brings a lot of young audience to the table. Bob Backash told an investors conference about adding another 15,000 hours of CBS and Viacom content to the streaming service. Says ViacomCBS CEO Bob Backash detailed changes to CBS All Access, including 15,000 hours of new Viacom and CBS programming and sports content, as he discussed a planned relaunch in 2021 of the streaming service on Tuesday. Quote, the second part of our strategy is to transform All Access into a super service. So as ViacomCBS dives deeper into the streaming space, including with other offerings like Pluto TV, which, by the way, I didn't realize Pluto TV was part of Viacom, and Showtime OTT, planned changes to CBS All Access include new programming from Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, the Smithsonian Networks, and Paramount Network. It says Backash added his Hollywood studio would add another 15,000 hours of on-demand TV and film content to access on top of the 15,000 hours of content already on the streaming service. It says we have a good position in the older segment with the current All Access product, but this really brings a lot of young audience to the table. Now, my big question here is, wasn't Star Trek supposed to do that, Dave?
Well, I was just going to say that the Smithsonian content's going to bring the younger viewers to this super service. You want to know what would make this a super service, in my humble opinion? Would be if they fix that stupid thing I have on my Samsung TV where it starts to play a commercial and it causes a weird skipping, jumping thing, and it goes from the episode I'm watching to the next episode without warning me at all what in the hell it's doing. I have been trying to send an email using their quote-unquote support email to let them know that there's this problem on the Samsung television, and of course it doesn't go through because I guess that email doesn't really work. That would make it a great super service, in my opinion, would be to fix that really friggin' annoying problem, because I still am a CBS All Access subscriber. But every time it does that, I question why I am still a CBS All Access subscriber.
And I question that as well, Dave. I mean, I'll question. It's not rhetorical. Why are you still a CBS All Access subscriber? Please tell us.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I'm waiting for all this young, hip content like the Smithsonian channel.
But you didn't really answer my question, Dave. Wasn't Star Trek, wasn't New Trek? I call it New Trek. I call anything from CBS All Access, I call it New Trek. That's Discovery, Short Treks, and Picard. And I call it New Trek. And I'm like, wasn't New Trek supposed to bring in all these young people? Wasn't that the whole plan?
Yeah, that was my understanding. I mean, that's part of what it was supposed to do. But you know, apparently that's for people that's for older people. Apparently, that's the stuff for the old people. The Smithsonian channel, that's what's going to bring in the kids.
Well, they love that science, right? You know, that's, you know, yay science. You know, as long as, you know, they agree with it. But anyway, I think that this shows Viacom, on the one hand, is doing a no-brainer, okay? It makes sense that now that Viacom and CBS are together, it does make sense to actually bring the Smithsonian channel involved if that's something that they have access to, because CBS didn't have access to that before because for whatever reason, Viacom and CBS completely bucked the trend that everybody else was doing, and they separated, which was kind of a disaster, especially for Viacom. CBS was actually doing pretty well, But Viacom was losing all sorts of money, which is Paramount Studios. They were losing all sorts of money, having all sorts of problems, to the point that they were having to license things like Star Trek because they didn't have the rights to it anymore. CBS All Access did. It was a big mess. So they put them back together. And in doing so, yes, they can do things like Nickelodeon, the Smithsonian Channel. I listed some other ones that they were talking about here. And it makes absolute sense to put them all together on one service rather than doing, say, what HBO Max is doing and DC Universe is doing, where they're fighting over their own content when they aren't even different companies. They're both under AT&T. But the spin on this article is what's interesting to me, is this idea that, we're doing this because we want to get all this, because we're doing good with the older fans, which I don't believe that, but they say they are, and it says, but we want to get the new fans. Again, I just have to ask it again. Wasn't New Trek supposed to take care of this problem? Wasn't New Trek supposed to bring in all these young people?
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to, but obviously that's not what's really happening, because clearly, this head of the studio here clearly is thinking that it's not working, and we're gonna do something different, because it's not working. And then Manistan has a comment. He says, "Isn't Star Trek Picard still slated for production of further seasons?" Yes, as far as we all know, it is slated for episodes of further season. And of course, Star Trek Picard, that brought all the kids in, didn't it? The
apparently
thing that really brought the kids in.
Yeah, it's weird. And by the way, Manistan, great to have you comment on the show. You always give great comments and great questions and stuff like that. Yeah, officially, Star Trek Picard is absolutely still slated for a second season. But there has been no announced production date. Now, in the post or current pandemic world, however you view it, there's obviously issues with production right now. We were talking about the Orville earlier. Orville season 3 has obviously been on a hiatus, and we have no indication of when they're going to start up again. And they were actually filming. They were in the middle of filming and then stopped. Star Trek Picard season 2 hasn't done anything. As far as I've heard, they haven't even started doing storyboarding. They don't even know what the heck they're going to do for season 2. But officially, it's still out there. But stuff like this makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. I don't have any inside source other than the comments that we're getting from the head of ViacomCBS, the actual boss, where he's saying, hey, we're going to add all this content. We're going to rebrand and redo CBS All Access as ViacomCBS All Access, make it a super service, and we're going to get those young people. I thought Picard and Discovery and Short Treks were supposed to do that. So I don't get it. I should say I don't get it. Reading between the lines, I'm trying to say New Trek is a terrible, terrible failure. And CBS All Access is not giving us the real numbers of just how much of a failure they are.
Well, and I'm on the record, that like I said, I liked Discovery. There's a lot of stuff about a lot of aspects of Discovery that I quite enjoyed. So that's for me personally. But I'm obviously not a young kid, so I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, this all just sounds like a bunch of hype and a bunch of spin. The idea that they're going to, rebrand and somehow bring in a bunch of people, which we've all heard and seen that before. And I don't know. I don't, like I said, it's like if they want to really offer a super service, adding this additional content sounds great. I'm always for more new content. I don't know. We'll just have to see. It always drives me nuts, this constant concern and preoccupation with, we got to get the kids. It's like, well, what about the rest of us? I
don't think they have the rest of us. I don't think they have the rest of us either. I think it's just a complete, like you said, like the Smithsonian Channel, that's going to bring in all the young people or something like that. I'm not really buying that. I think that they're in trouble on both sides, and they just decided to spin a no-brainer decision, because this is a no-brainer decision. This is not as complicated as HBO Max and DC Universe are making it. It makes sense to put all this content together. I think that's a no-brainer. What I think is interesting is the spin on this story from the CEO. This is straight out of his mouth of what he's saying, why he's doing this. It's like, to me, I would have been like, this is a no-brainer. You know, we're back together. We're going to put all the content together. We're going to play nice because we're one big happy family. We're going to kick ass. And that's all I would have said. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have said anything else, because this spin makes me think that Star Trek the new Trek is not as successful as they have made it out.
Yeah, I could see that. That's it. You know, I could totally see that, especially with this announcement, the way that it's, you know, sort of worded. You know, obviously you want your headline to lean into your strengths, you know, when you're announcing something. But yeah, I kind of take offense to the idea. It's like, we're going to make a super service. It's like, the service I have isn't super. I mean, I know it's not.
No, it's
super.
not.
You know,
it's not. We both know it's not. That's why I don't have it anymore, and that's why you can't get anybody to answer emails back.
Yeah. And I have been enjoying The Good Fight. My wife and I have been slowly making our way through The Good Fight, actually on All Access. So we've been kind of enjoying that show. But no, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This all just sounds like spin, obviously. You know, adding new content is nice, you know. But at the end of the day, it's going to depend upon how they target and what it is they're trying to achieve, whether or not they're going to be able to see the real success, you know, on the numbers side. You know, and it's weird because there's a lot of content on CBS All Access that basically you can watch for free. So, you know, why would people feel incumbent, you know, or driven to necessarily even get the service if they hear there's mixed reviews on it, and then there's an awful lot of content they can just run over and watch for free? So I don't know.
Well, that's the model that the Peacock is going to be starting next month, right? Or is it later this month? Peacock is going to be unveiling their ad-based service very soon, very, very soon.
Well, I'm sure that'll be interesting, but we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see what happens, and, you know, see by them if this, you know, ViacomCBS, I don't know, All Access, whatever the heck they're going to call it, if that's, you know, up and running, and then, you know, if we want, we can compare, you know, apples to apples, as they say, or apples to oranges, you know. Depending upon how well the service does or it does not work, and sort of lead up to, or, you know, to people's imaginations. Because, you know, that at the end of the day, that's the big thing. You have to win the people over so that they'll try your service, so they'll take a look at what you're doing. If you're going to have any success of converting anyone into any kind of a sale, you know, provided that that's, you know, important for you and your bills and such on and so forth.
By the way, I was just trying to look and see if I had missed what they were going to call it, and I don't see it. I'm guessing it's just going to be called ViacomCBS All Access, because the official name of the company now is ViacomCBS. So that would be my guess. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that would make, you know, sort of the most, you know, most sense. But I don't know.
They don't always do what makes sense.
No, they do not.